Hello everyone, and again welcome to today's session. Today we are going to discuss the first step of creating a machine learning model, that is collecting data or importing data. So we are going to discuss today about data collection. Data collection. Now, how can we collect data? First of all, we can collect data from different websites. Anything else? We can also collect data with APIs. We're going to get to it. What does API mean and how do we actually get our data from that? Another option. This is something called web scraping. Web scraping. Now, think of it like this. In the industry, when you are working at a company, the company itself gives you their data, right? Then you can work with it. But when you are practicing machine learning models, when you are practicing how to build, how to deploy a machine learning model, you need to use data, a data set. The company won't give you that data for their security, right? In that case, you can do something manually, which is called web scraping. You can collect data manually. I'm also going to show you or give an idea about it later on. Anything else? Another option that we have, that is using the libraries, the Python libraries that we have discussed previously. If you have forgotten, let me give you a reminder. Before this session, we have discussed machine learning lifecycle, and we have discussed machine learning basic tools such as NumPy, Pandas, different kind of data visualization libraries like Matplotlib, Plotly, Seaborn. If you haven't watched those, please go to my channel and have a look at it. All the videos are available in the channel. So we can have data sets through our libraries or packages, okay, but these are only for practice. So overall we can see we have these options. Either we can get our dataset from website, we can make API request and create a dataset, all the data that we need, or we can do web scraping. We can collect all the data from different websites and make a collection of it. Or for practice, there are some inbuilt data sets in different Python packages or libraries. We can import those for our practice and make models. So this was data collection sources from which you can what? Collect data, import data so you can work on it. Now another thing, how or in which form you are going to get those data, that is the formats. There are lots of formats of a file, okay. The data will be in a file and that file will have different kinds of extensions, like the most common one is CSV file, that is comma separated. We will gonna be see that, okay. We have Excel file, very familiar thing. We all are familiar with Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel. We can have SQL files. We can also have something called HTML files. Okay, we can have JSON files. There are also many other formats that we can have those files in. From the source, we collect those in which formats? These formats. Okay, these formats. It can be anything, but the most common and most widely used is the CSV format. Okay, we have collected our data sets in different formats or a specific format, but how we are going to read those? Well, we are going to read all of these. We can read any of these by using our really familiar and one of our most favorite Python libraries called pandas. We can do all of these stuffs using pandas libraries. Okay, so up until now what I have discussed with you is that the source of data collection, from which places, from what source can we collect data, then uh, what do we collect? We collect data sets in different formats, right? In different formats. And then what do? We read the file, and after reading the file, only then we can manipulate, we can do whatever we like with the data set. So as I mentioned, for the sources, you can go above. I have mentioned these things. Let me copy it. Okay, let me grab this one. So for the sources, we have four things. First of all, we have from websites, right? We can collect it from APIs, we can do web scraping, or for practice we can also use Python libraries. Okay, so after that we have our data set. We might have data set in CSV, in JSON, in SQL, in different kind of format. So what do we do after getting the data? We read the data. How do we read it? As I told you, using pandas. And after reading the data set, only then we can do whatever we like. That is, we can manipulate our data to our convenience. Okay, so this is the flow of data collection from source to having it in your notebook, in your workplace. Fine. Okay, now let's get to the each of the main points, shall we? First one is websites. From which websites can we collect data? It is simply just a Google search. You just search any data set randomly, you can find it. But there are some specific websites which are really famous for. And for data science, one of the most popular places to go or look for is called something called Kaggle. Okay, another one really important is GitHub. Let me show you how we can find those dataset in Kaggle and GitHub. So let's go, let's see if our recording is going on. Yes. So let's search Kaggle, and we are here. So here you will see some options in the sidebar. Go to dataset, and here you can see search datasets. There's a really famous dataset called Titanic. So let's search Titanic dataset. Titanic. Okay, and yeah, it is also already here. Let's go here. and from here you can only have to click this download button and you will be starting your download. Okay, it is as simple as this. Okay, so I have already downloaded it, so I'm not gonna download it here now. So this is the process how you can download datasets from Kaggle. Let's see how we can do that from GitHub. Let's go to our GitHub. Here in this search bar, let's type in titanic.csv. We want it as a CSV file here now. Let's see, and yeah, you have lots of options. Lots of people have inputted Titanic datasets. Just click one. Let's see what is in there. Titanic, okay, it's not a CSV file. Oh yeah, there it is. Train, okay. He has already made a model, so let's look for another one. Again, let's type in titanic.csv. So what to pick? Yes, let's pick this one. Here you have Titanic data.csv. Let's go inside and look what is it in it. And here you go. The whole Titanic dataset is present here. You can just click on this button, download raw file, and you will have it in your working space in your file directory. Okay, it is as simple as that. I have already downloaded in my machine, so let's go and let's see what have we downloaded. So in order to do that, let's open any of your code editors. I have opened up VS Code. You can do this in Jupyter Notebook or Google Colab as well. So first things first, what we are going to do is import NumPy as NP and import pandas as PD, as we are going to use them. Let's run this. It has run. So as I mentioned, we are gonna use pandas to read, right? Here we have collected from a source our dataset. It is in CSV format. Now we are gonna read it with pandas. That's why we have imported it. Okay, fine. Now how to read it? It is really simple. The command goes like this: pd.read. And if you enter as underscore, and you will see all the options that you have to read a file. You can read CSV file, clipboard, Excel, and lots of options. Just go down SQL, table, XML, pickle. You can read different and lots of types of data in lots of types of formats by using pandas. So it's a really amazing facility that pandas provides. So as our data is in CSV, so let's type in CSV. Okay, here we will have to enter the name of our dataset, but before that, it's a really important thing, a star mark. You must have it in the correct folder, the correct directory. Okay, I'm working inside this untitled IPYNB. My Titanic dataset is also in the same folder. Okay, so please keep that in mind. If you have that in another location, it won't show and it will give you an error. So for those who have wondered what is a CSV file, this is what a CSV file looks like. The first row indicates the columns. Here the passenger ID, survived, P class, etc. From the bottom, uh, just below this starts our data, the rows. Okay, and every column is separated by a comma. Here you can see first the name, uh, then the passenger ID, first the passenger ID, then survived, then P class, okay, the age, the ticket, everything. all are divided by comma. That is why it is called comma separated. Clear? Okay, so we want to read this using pandas in our notebook. So fine, we have in the correct directory the correct location. Just name it. We have the Titanic dataset as titanic.csv. It is already giving me suggestions, okay, since it is in the current directory. That's why I'm having it. So let's run it. Yeah, so here you go. This is our, let me zoom out a little bit. Yeah, this is our Titanic dataset. Titanic dataset. There's, as you can see, there's 891 rows and 12 columns here. So as you can see, it is so easy, and so, I mean, so with little effort you can read a CSV file. You can download it easily, then you can so easily read it, and after that you can manipulate in whatever you like. Okay, so this is for our CSV file. Here I also have an Excel file. Let's see if we can read that as well. PD read Excel. Let's see if there's any option here. Read Excel. Yeah, okay. The data format for a Excel file is called, let me zoom in, XLSX. Okay, this file that we have here, it is a Excel file. So let's read it. Let's run it and wait a little bit. And here you go. We have our Excel file printed. Very easy, very easy. You just change this according to your format of the file and you will get the desired output. Fine. Okay, so this is how you can read anything. Now if you want to manipulate, okay, anything, just store it in a variable. Let's call it df. Okay, let's see the df. Okay, now I just want to see the columns. I can run this command. The columns, yes, printed. Let's say I want to drop a column. As you can see, there's passenger ID here. Let's drop it. Let's drop this one, passenger ID. Okay, our command would be drop, sorry, dot drop passenger ID, and you have to mention the axis as well. And here you go. Let's see, it is running. Oh, we got an error here. I gave the wrong name. Sorry, my bad. It is PA. Now let's run it. Still getting an error. What is the error here? Passenger ID not found in Axis. Not found in Axis.
Starting narrator.
Okay, wait.
Narrator dialog. Okay. Exiting narrator.
Okay, let's see. It should work. Why did I make my mistake? Okay, if we get stuck, we can easily go to Google and ask it. Let's see, pd.drop. Let's go to the documentation. I also have something to show you in the documentation, so let's see that. Yeah, so in drop you mention the label, that is passenger ID. In our case, you have axis 0 that indicates row and axis 1 indicates the column. So we have everything settled, and why is it giving me error? It is giving me error. Okay, fine. Let's see the df again. Let's load the df again. This is our data frame. Okay, what is running in the behind? So okay, there's some issues as I can see, guys, but don't worry, I'll cover it in the next session. Okay, how we can manipulate the data set, but the main thing was to show you how you can read the data set by using pandas. Okay, there are, you can drop any column, you can add any column, you can do lots and lots of stuff that we are going to cover in the next session, so don't worry. Okay, so up until now what we have discussed is that the source, we have used websites to get a data set. We have read that data set using panda, and we have tried to manipulate, we have tried to drop a column. Okay, so this is the flow. Now another thing, the another option that you have here, that is the API. This topic is a huge one, that's why I'm not going to be covering it whole in this session, but let me give you an idea what does this API do. Suppose this is your system. Okay, this is your system, and this is a browser or website or system number 2 from which you want to collect the data. But will the other system give the data so easily? Okay, it is a private thing, it is a matter of security, so will it give the data so easily? Obviously not. That is why there is a medium called API in the middle. Okay, API, you request the API, make a request, the API asks the server of the system 2, and it gives you a reply which comes back to you. This is a overview of how API works. Okay, it's an overview. There are lots of technical terms and technical topics in each of these. Okay, so this is how API works, but it is a really huge thing, so I'm gonna be covering it in a later session. Okay, don't worry. The third step, or the third way of collecting data, is web scraping. As I mentioned, that no company wants to share their um, information, their data with you because of the securities or and privacy. But you need to have the data. How can you do that? One option was to use API, but another option, that is, you can do it manually by web scraping. Now how does this web scraping work? Let me give you an idea here. Suppose this is a web page. Okay, suppose this is a e-commerce website, this is a search bar, and you have grid of different items. Okay, this website is created by using different coding languages, especially HTML, right? So what we do is somehow we get this HTML code, it is very easy, from the website. Then we do some manual coding and collect the data that we need. Okay, like in this, obviously there's going to be a code in HTML for the images that they have used, for the name they have to use. Now if I just want to pick all the images from this website, all the names of the products from this website, I just need a bit of manual coding after getting the HTML, and we will have our data. Okay, so this is a completely another topic and a huge thing. Okay, if you want to learn it, this is also I'm going to be discussing in a later session by using another Python library or package called Beautiful Soup. Beautiful Soup. And another library called requests. Clear? I'm giving you an overall idea that what web scraping does. There are also many technicalities with it, but this is an overall view. Okay, if you still haven't gotten an idea, let me show you a website, shall we? Let's go to Chaldal. Let's see. Let it open. Yeah, here you go. It is an e-commerce platform, right? So here, if we go to food and suppose let's see the fruits and vegetables. Let's see the fresh vegetables. Yes, here you have all the vegetables loaded, right? Right? There in each department for each item you have the item picture, you have the name of the item, you have the price of the item, right? Now I want to collect the name and the picture and the prices of the items. How can I do that? Like I said, I can collect the HTML format and then do some manual coding to get all of this. Okay, how can we get the HTML code? Go to inspect. After right clicking the mouse, something will pop up, a dashboard. Here you can find all the HTML code related to this web page. It is as simple as that. Okay, you can do manual clicking, like here I want to click this. Wait, for this website this is the block. Okay, for this is the block, and I can manually tweak in to get the information. The informations are all here. Here you see, this is the image source, and there also should be name. Yes, this is the name portion. See, name, Deshi Peyaj, Deshi Peyaj. You see this? So if we just run a loop and just collect this name part and just collect the image and put it in our data set, we'll have a complete data set. Okay, so we will discuss it in a broader term in an upcoming session by using Beautiful Soup and Request Library to collect all of this. Okay guys? Okay, fine. So this was about web scraping. We have discussed how we can get data set or data collection of data from websites. We saw the idea of using API and also web scraping. Another thing that is remaining for discussion today is how we can use built-in how can we use Python packages to use their built-in datasets. For this purpose, the Python packages that we are gonna use, first of all is Seaborn, and the next is scikit-learn. These two libraries, there are other libraries, but these are the most familiar ones. These two libraries have some inbuilt datasets. Let me show you the documentation. So let's search SNS dataset. Let's go. Here we have the documentation. And see, this is the syntax. SNS.load dataset, then you type in the name of the dataset that you want to use. And if you were wondering which dataset I'm gonna have, just click on this GitHub link and you will see the directory in which all the datasets are listed. See this, all the CSV files. You can have any one of these as you like. There are I think 20-30 dataset. Here you can also have the Titanic dataset. We have imported it from Kaggle, right? We can also do this from Seaborn. It is already built in. Okay, so let's do this. Let me show you this first one. So before using SNS, you have to import it, right? If you haven't installed it in your machine, do pip install Seaborn. After that, import Seaborn as SNS. Let's run this command. Okay, let's have a new cell. Here we are gonna type sns.load dataset. Load dataset, and the name of our dataset is Titanic. Titanic. Let's run it. And here you go. The Titanic dataset is already present in our Seaborn library. Okay, it is the exactly same thing that we have downloaded it up here. See, we downloaded it and then read it. In Seaborn, it is already present. There are other library data sets. There's something called flight. Let's see that. Or is it flights? Let me check. Flights, there should be an S here attached. Okay, let's wait for the error. There should be an S here. Okay, it is taking too much time. Let's interrupt the kernel. Okay, and let's rerun it. And here you go, the flights datasets. So there are about 20 to 30 dataset already present and inbuilt in Seaborn, so you can practice them for your convenience. Okay, fine. Another library that we can use is scikit-learn. So let's see the documentation for that as well. Scikit-learn datasets. So let's go to the documentation. And yeah, here you go. There are lots of data sets present here. Let's click on something really easy. Diabetes dataset. It is a famous one. Let's load it. All the instructions are here. All the instructions. So let's go to this. Okay. So this is the syntax of loading the diabetes dataset. sklearn.datasets.load diabetes. Okay, below you will also have an example. Let me just copy and paste it. Let's not get to anything complex. Let's paste it. Oh, before that, make sure you have scikit-learn installed in your machine. Okay, so just do a pip install if you haven't installed it. After installing that, only then you can run this. So let's wait for our cell to run. Yes, it has loaded the load diabetes. Let's see the documentation again. Yes, so let's call the df equals load diabetes, and let's see the df. And here you go. This diabetes is not a typical table. It is as you can see here, it's a table, but it's kind of a dictionary format, but it is what it is. This is how you can get the data set by using scikit-learn as well, and you have lots of other options as I've shown you. Let me go back. These, okay, another one. Let's go a bit further. Wait, there were some data sets. There should be all the data sets listed here. Let us again run it. I've seen it here somewhere. Okay, let's again see that. And here you go. These are the data sets that you can use. Iris plants dataset, diabetes datasets, and lots of other options. Some of are used for deep learning, some of are for regression. So there are data sets for different kinds of purposes. So Among all of these, you have lots of options to choose from and use it as you like according to your project. These are all for practice. Okay. So finally, guys, what have we discussed for this session? Let's give you an overall summary of today's session. First of all, we have seen the sources of data collections from which we can collect data. We have seen first one, that is from website. We have seen Kaggle and GitHub, and we have downloaded Titanic dataset. We have seen the theory of API and web scraping. I have not covered the details of it as I'm going to cover it in the upcoming sessions. Okay, don't worry. It will be a long video, that's why I'm not covering it here. Then we have seen how we can import the datasets by using Seaborn and sklearn. Clear? Okay. Mind one thing, guys. In industry, the company in which you are gonna be working with, dealing with, that company will give you their datasets. Okay. But no matter whichever sources you get the datasets, there will be datasets in some formats, as I mentioned earlier. It can be CSV, it can be Excel, SQL, HTML, JSON, or anything else. Okay, to read all of this, we can use our most familiar library called Pandas, and after reading that, we can do whatever we like. Okay, so this was the summary of today's session. Later on the sessions, in the coming sessions, I will be discussing about something called EDA, exploratory data analysis. After collecting data, this is the second thing that you do. So to learn that, have an idea of it, hang on and do subscribe to my YouTube channel to get all the videos. So that's it for the session. See you later. Bye bye.